Hello, and welcome to Talk to Tony Wilson. Today, my guest is going to share some information about a growing program in the community. It's a program to help seniors stay in their home. It's kind of similar to home health, but not exactly. So even if you don't feel like this program is something that you need at the moment, still listen out because there may be something in this program that can help somebody that's in your community, and you can get that information too. So my guest today is Ms. Burnell Mitchell. She is a master's in public health and a team leader and manager at the Senior Total Life Care. And she's going to give us some very good information. So please just listen. So Burnell, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Ms. Tony, for having me on your program. I appreciate it.
Oh,
I think it's great what you're doing to get the word out. It's excellent.
You're quite welcome. I'm so glad that I was able to get in contact with you because this program, like I say, I haven't had much dealings with it, but the way you explained it to me, it is very needed in our communities. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
So just give us a little bit of background about yourself. How did you get into public health?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I kind of fell into it. I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. And when it was time for me to get back into the community, I started my undergrad at Guilford College, and I needed a class working with seniors. And so just so happened across the street where I lived was an assisted living. So I went across, asked if they needed any volunteers. They did, and I volunteered in the activities department. And then that person left and recommended me for the job, and pretty much the rest is history. So I worked in this assisted living with seniors. At that time, it was assisted living that had probably 30% people with dementia and then everybody else. And then it turned into a specialty assisted living, which meant everybody in the facility had dementia. So I was working in a facility that had 70 residents that all had some form, level, stage of dementia. And so then I went from being an activities coordinator to ending up being a memory care program director. And then that's where I got the majority of my training. And then I left there and started working for a senior TLC about almost 6 years ago. And so that's pretty much my background. And so that's all my experiences dealing with them.
Okay. So what makes you so passionate about the area? Have you had like personal experiences with public health, some concerns there? Is that something you can share with us?
Sure. I've always just kind of had a passion for seniors. I was adopted and my parents were older. And so I grew up around an older population. But unfortunately, I didn't know that much about Alzheimer's disease. And I had an aunt that had Alzheimer's disease, but we didn't know that. So my mother and my father, she used to live with us and we took care of her, but her behaviors were so awkward and we couldn't leave her there by herself. And at that time, my dad was working, my mom was working third shift, I was working, I had a child. We ended up, I'm ashamed to say, having to, at some periods, lock her in her room so that my mom could get some rest to go to work. And I remember getting a call from the neighbor saying that my mom, they had to call the fire department. And what happened was my aunt had got up, went into the kitchen to cook something. She couldn't do this. So she put a cast iron skillet on the stove, turned the eye on, and then went back into the living room and sat down. Smoke, my mom was asleep, smoke billowing all around her. And because of what Alzheimer's does to your brain, she did not see the clues that this was a bad situation. And so the neighbors saw all the smoke billowing out and they called the fire department. And so that's when I started really looking into, what happens and what behaviors you have with Alzheimer's disease. Could have been a terrible situation.
Okay. So the program, tell us a little bit about the program that you're on on our show for. How does that relate to your personal experience?
Well, this is a program that allows seniors to stay in their home. So if my aunt had other family members, and she was living alone, she would have been able to stay in her own home with the help and assistance of this program. We serve the underserved population, those that are socioeconomically challenged. Those are the people that we help. Those that are in rural areas that don't have transportation to get back and forth to, get the health care that they need, we provide transportation for them. So when I first became a part of this program, I'm probably never going to leave it, to be honest with you, because I've never seen a program like this help people, especially those that, in working in assisted living, when, of course, it's a business, and my program is a business as well. But when you're in assisted living, a lot of times when you have to be on Medicaid, they don't want to take you, or they get to a certain point and they want you to go into a facility that's not as nice, because you're on Medicaid, and our facility is not that way. And so just being able to be a part of an organization that helps people and really, we look for people that have Medicaid, because we're a government federally funded program that utilizes Medicaid and Medicare. So when we find somebody that needs Medicare and Medicaid, normally there's not that much of a payment for them. So they get all of our services and not have to have a payment. And so that's the great part of the program.
So what are some of the services that you do offer? And is it to help seniors stay in their home, or do y'all have a facility where you take seniors to?
Okay, so our program is an adult day program. So there's no one that stays inside of our actual facility. It's an interdisciplinary type of organization. So right now, our organization has 4 different teams. Each team has a provider. It's either a nurse practitioner or actual physician or a physician's assistant. And we have social workers. We have a transportation lead. We have a OT, a PT. I think I mentioned social workers. And I think I mentioned transportation. And so we have all of those parts of those different disciplines that will service a participant in our program. We even have behavioral health services. So they have the right to see if they need a specialty physician, we will pay for that. We just recently had a participant who had a growth in their neck, and their larynx ended up getting crushed. They had to have a specialty service in actually Greensboro to get them off the ventilator. And so what we did is we transported that person. They spent almost 30 days in a specialty clinic in Greensboro, and they, at no cost to them, we incur all of that cost. We actually have 5 contracted nursing homes. And so if perchance your family situation causes you that, let's say it's just a husband and a wife, and the wife passes, and so the husband needs a lot of care and there's no other family members. If the team agrees and recommends that person goes into a nursing home, we also will pay for that.
So for someone in the community that may need this service, do they have to have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia?
No, they don't. Our facility has a secure unit where we have some of our dementia participants, the ones that are more advanced and need a more quiet type of environment without so much overstimulation. That secure unit is there. But the only requirements to be in this program, you have to live within the service area, which is Gaston County, parts of Lincoln County, and parts of Cleveland County. And you have to be 55 years of age or older and be determined as nursing home level of care. We do have participants that are not, necessarily in a wheelchair or confined to a wheelchair, but they are considered nursing home level of care. And so that's the requirements to be enrolled in the program. They have to have a willing and capable caregiver.
So for the ones that want to stay in their home, let's say they have a caregiver that is working full time outside of the home. What type of services or programs does your company, and I believe you told me the name of it is PACE, and PACE does stand for something. I'll let you tell us that also. But what
Yes.
type of programs under PACE can help somebody, like say, if they are at home and they're their caregiver works full-time outside the home?
Well, PACE stands for Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. And we contract with personal care services like Home Instead, Bright Star. And so if we do enroll a person in our program and say the caregiver works full-time, of course, before COVID hit, they would more than likely come into our facility, into our adult day, and they would stay into the program. I think our hours are from 8 to 5. So they would come into the program at 8. And if the caregiver didn't get off till 5, they would stay at the center until transportation routed them home. And usually we, meet the caregiver there. Then our personal care services would go into the home. Let's say they left our facility at 3 o'clock. Personal care services would get there at 3 o'clock, meet them at the home, stay there until 5 or whatever the time is until the caregiver gets home, and then the caregiver takes over for that. So the program is designed to be a partnership with the family. So think of it almost like a net. And so the family is the net. There are holes in the net, and the program fills up the holes in the net.
Now, you mentioned there's a nurse practitioner and a physician that is at your all services. So will a client that's coming to y'all, will they have 2 primary cares, or how would that work?
Well, what the program offers is that if you, and this is the part that stops a lot of people from enrolling in the program. If you enrolled in the program and you had already had a primary care physician, you would not have your old primary care physician. You would then transfer into our program to our primary care physician. And so, of course, for seniors, may have been with a primary care physician for a long time, and sometimes they don't want to leave that primary care physician. But for those who do not have health care, it's the perfect opportunity to get a primary care physician.
Now, when there is a client that don't want to let go of their long-term primary care physician to go into your services, do you all offer the satisfaction, I guess you can say, as saying that we do refer to your primary, since they were the ones that were taking care of you for so long, that we will get some records from them, or do y'all just start completely over with your records? How does that work?
Yeah, if they will enroll in the program and have already had a physician, we will request the physician's records, because what we'll do, our primary care physician will review all of their medical records. So we'll have a good picture of what was going on with the participant before they enrolled in the program. There are many instances when our primary care physician will reach out to the original primary care physician to get more information on that participant, because our goal is to still provide the same amount of care, same type of care. So we really want to get to know who that person is when they come into our program. So it is a need-based program. So when they get approved and enrolled in the program, each one of the disciplines will assess them. So they'll come in and they'll have an exam with the physician. They'll meet with the OT, the PT, and they will assess the needs. So if let's say they meet with the PT and it's determined that they have a really unsteady gait and they need some therapy and they need a cane, a walker, we'll provide that DME for them as well. Including, let's say a person with Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia gets into the end stage and can't walk anymore and they need a specialty, what I call high back wheelchair, we'll provide that.
Okay. Did you mention hospital beds? Did you all offer those?
Yes. We also provide, best way to describe it is like hospice-like services. So again, the whole goal of the program is to allow that person to be able to stay in their home. So we provide end-of-life care, comfort care. So when it gets just too much for a participant, and again, this is pre-COVID too, to come to our day center, they can remain in the home. If they need a hospital bed, we provide that. Now we have in-home services where we can perform wound care in the home. We can do some labs in the home. It just depends on what that participant particularly needs. The only difference is that if a person is end of life in the home and there's medications, and our personal care services, they can't give that participant those actual medications. The family has to be responsible for actually administering those end-of-life meds. And we've had this actually happen in some cases, the family is like, I just can't do it. I just can't give my mom those end-of-life meds. So there are situations where we would, try to reach out to our contracted nursing facilities and have an end-of-life bed in their facility. And so a lot of times we can provide the same type of end-of-life care services in another contracted nursing home.
So it sounds like you're saying there's a lot of information that is not known to the general public. So do y'all have any type of programs where you're helping to educate the public or in the community?
Yes, we have a community education and intake department that goes out into the community and tries to educate. But because of some of the restrictions, because we're a PACE program and a federally funded type of program, we can't do the same type of advertising that some businesses could do. And so there are some restrictions, so we have to try to get creative. So what basically they've been doing is going into some of the senior centers and, in some senior housing to do education. But because of COVID, that's kind of very difficult to do right now. So we're just trying to come up. We have a Facebook page. Senior TLC has a Facebook page. And so we're trying to do things. They've been very creative to provide, we have a rec therapist too on site. So they're doing virtual bingos and things with some of our enrollees, just try to, the ones that are not coming to the center at the time. Now, right now, we're in our first phase. And so we do have some participants that come to the day center because their families work and they have to come. And so we have some services in the center right now, but we're trying to do most of our things virtually because of COVID.
Well, speaking of COVID, and I guess it's a change for everybody. What are you all doing differently in your centers and when you're sending employees to the homes? What are y'all doing different now for COVID protection compared to what was not being done before last year?
So before COVID, at any given day, we might have 100, 120 people in the center doing all different types of activities and getting the medical care that they need. Right now, we are social distancing. We have broken our center up into zones. We try to have our staff not cross zones. We have certain aides that are in certain zones and they take care of those people in those zones. And there's like one or two people sitting at a table, that type of thing. We're trying to do, because we have this type of home health license now, we're trying to do more of our assessments in the home. We're trying to do, the team really discusses based on each individual participant, whether we need to bring them into the center or whether we need to do whatever the care they need in the home, which would include therapy as well. So it's, again, a need-based program based on COVID right now. And so we just take every situation, one participant at a time. So it's kind of stressful, very difficult because we're, trying to make the best decision for the participants and our staff as well.
So if somebody in the community wanted to get in touch with you just to see if they may qualify or someone they know may qualify for your service, how would they get in touch with you?
All they need to do is call the center and just ask to speak to Nicole Hawkins. She is our community educator. And the number, I don't know if you want the number now.
Yes, that'd be good.
Okay, the number is 704-874-0600, and just let them know that you're interested in the program and they'll direct you to the right department.
Oh.
If you'd like to contact me directly, you can contact me at 704-874-2295. And I also do provide some dementia education in the home.
Okay, all right. Okay, now you said y'all have a website. Can you
Yes.
that information?
Yes, if you go to Senior TLC, I think it's seniortlc.org, but we also have a Senior TLC Facebook page too. And it, shows different little videos and things that we've been doing in the community. Right in the beginning of COVID, we put some of our staff on the bus and went around and just visited our participants at their homes just to see how they were doing. So that video is on there as well. So just go to the Facebook, and I think we're working on getting a Twitter and all that other social media type stuff. But yes, seniortlc.org is our Facebook page.
So is there anything else that you'd like to share that maybe I didn't ask or didn't know to ask? Any other little tidbit?
The only thing I want to say is that there are PACE programs across the country. It's not just CUTLC in Gaston County. I think there's 200 and some all across the country. So if you go on North Carolina PACE Association website, you can look up where your nearest PACE program is. And I would encourage anyone, even if the program is not for you, to look at the services that we offer. I would never work at a place that wasn't legitimate and for the community, and this organization is legit.
That is positive there. Well, thank you, Vernell, for coming on and sharing that with us. 'Cause I hadn't heard of the PACE program, and I'm pretty sure there's others that's watching the video hasn't heard of that either. But it is good to know that there's communities out there, programs out there that want to help the communities like this. And that's my job. That's what I'm here to do, is try to get that information out to everyone. So if that is all that you have, then that's going to end another Talk to Tony Wilson.
Yes.
So for right
Thank you,
now, I
Ms.
want to thank you, Vernell, for coming on the show. And I hope everyone have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Tony. I appreciate you.
Thank you.